very good morning. In this two-day lecture program organized by the Himalayan Tiger Foundation in collaboration with Kathmandu University, School of Science and Center for Molecular Dynamics, Nepal. To cut short, I'd like to start the welcoming part. So I'd like to welcome Dean of School of Science, Professor Dr. Panna Thapa, Assistant Dean, School of Science, Professor Deepak Subedi, Head of Department of Biotechnology, Professor Dr. Tika Bahadur Karki, Head of Department of Environment Science and Engineering, Professor Dr. Subodh Sharma, Professor Sanjay Khanal from the Department of Environment Science and Engineering, and Assistant Professor Mr. Subodh Upadhyay, and all the faculties present here, as well as students from Kathmandu University. And from the Himalayan Tiger Foundation, we have the President and Consulate General of Nepal to the Netherlands, Mr. Kasti Stoppler, Professor Dr. Jacques van Alpijn, University of Amsterdam and Leiden University, and Dr. Laura Bartola, University of Leiden, and from Center for Molecular Dynamics, Nepal, we have International Director, Mr. Dibesh Karmacharya. And I'd like to not miss myself. I'm Monisha Bista, class of 2010, Kathmandu University, Department of Biotechnology, currently working at Center for Molecular Dynamics, Nepal, in wildlife conservation. So Himalayan Tiger Foundation aims to support research and conservation work in Nepal. And to inaugurate this collaborative work, I'd like to request Dean of School of Science, Professor Dr. Panna Thapa, and the President of the Himalayan Tiger Foundation, Mr. Kasti Stoppler, to light the lamp, please. Associate Professor Mr. Subodh Upadhyay is also helping with lighting the lamp. Thank you. Of School of Science, Professor Dr. Panna Thapa, to give his welcome speech.
Good morning, Mr. Stoppler, the President, the Himalayan Tiger Foundation, plus Consular General, Nepalese Consul General for the Netherlands. He's been in Nepal for a few decades, I suppose. Professor Jacques van Alpijn, Dr. Bartola, my colleagues from the Kathmandu University, dear students and participants. It's my great pleasure to welcome you all in this 8-lecture, 2 days series in conservation biology and wildlife genetics. We have been working through the emails for quite a while in order to arrive at this stage. The Himalayan Tiger Foundation approached us and the CMDN, Center for Molecular Diagnostics of Nepal, CMDN. And then we thought, why not go with this 8-lecture series? Because the biodiversity or conservation biology or the wildlife genetics is quite important. And as you know that in the School of Science, we do have 4 academic departments, and one of the premier department is Department of Environmental Science and Engineering. We do not run the courses in conservation biology, but we do have a component of biodiversity and so on in the course. Likewise, in the Department of Biotechnology, there's a component of biodiversity. What I'm trying to say is this school has been focusing on the number of issues in biodiversity. If you ask me, do we need to conserve do we really need to have a conservation biology or biodiversity? If you ask me, my wish is not to touch the nature. I don't feel like touching the nature because as the civilization goes up, as development goes up, the human needs have encroached, disturbed the natural habitats, But if you ask me, I do not want to disturb the nature. I want nature as such. We need to take benefits from the nature as it is. That's my, but the argument goes on. There are arguments that no, when population goes high, not only of human beings, of animals also, there is a disturbance in the ecosystem. But anyway, we need to, conservation is very important, and we need to have a kind of the series of policies, whether it be in a local level means in the community level, or the national level, regional level, or international level, because when you work with the biodiversity, it may have implications in intellectual property rights. We being in the WTO member, there are quite legal issues that may have implications, but simultaneously, what type of legal implications it does have in biodiversity, we need to focus on that. As far as I know, the Nepal doesn't have a very strong guidelines on how to use the natural resources. There are policies but the guidelines and regulations, they are coming up. That's one part, and another part is, since many of you are students, we need to, while we embark on the research, we need to focus on ethics. Talking has been always very easy, by standing in front of you and talking about morality, ethics, talking about rules and regulations. It's very easy. But the most challenging part is to implementation and follow, That is one of the most challenging part for us. Not only in Nepal, but many parts of the world. Implementation, we need to, and implementation comes through your guts. If you really want to follow the ethics and morals, then it paves the way for the better. So my urge to especially the young researchers and students, we need to follow ethics in research. That's very important, whether you do conservation of biology or wildlife genetics or any type of research. Especially when you work with molecules, genetics, we need to follow very strong ethical aspects. That's very important. Anyway, as far as we are concerned, the Kathmandu University and School of Science, we might go into a kind of research collaboration with the Himalayan Tiger Foundation and the couple of universities in Netherlands, especially the University of Leiden, University of Amsterdam. Professor Jack is there, and Professor Hans Schion from the Leiden University. Especially we want to embark through the research degrees, and that is a bit of easier part rather than going into a taught course excuse me, in the conservation biology and wildlife genetics. It will take time, but we can start research-based degrees anytime, provided fund is available. So it all depends on the cash, If cash is available, there is a brain, we can explore. Anyway, I thank you for coming over here. Especially, I welcome our two resource persons who will make you busy for 2 days, Professor Jack van Alphen and Dr. Laura Bartola. Professor Alphen is from University of Amsterdam. Dr. Bartola is from University of Leiden. They will make you busy, and there's a range of issues. Lectures are quite interesting. They will start right from what type of problem in conservation biology, wildlife genetics, from the various kinds of ecological communities, genetics issues, and so on. And they are quite interesting, and I hope that this 2 days lecture series, it will be quite interesting to you, and it will pave the way, and some of you might have generated the interest in exploring further in this area. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Dr. Panna Thapa, for highlighting the importance of ethics and implementation of our research. And now, to move further with the program, I would like to request President of the Himalayan Tiger Foundation, Mr. Kas Stapler, to give his welcome speech and introduction to the Himalayan Tiger Foundation.
friends, I must say. Professor Thapa, you talk about cash. My name is Cas, it's almost the same. It's truly a great honor for me to be here as president of the Himalayan Tiger Foundation, that we can present to you a series of lectures in 2 days' time. At the end of this, we will hand out also a certificate that you've been there, so stay on also the next day. You can hang it on the wall in your student's room, and you will be very proud. I will briefly tell you what the Himalayan Tiger Foundation is. In the first place, the brief is that we want to strengthen the scientific base of nature conservation in Nepal by means of research and education. The first steps, what we are taking at present, are in the first place, of course, this lecture course. And Professor Alphen and Dr. Bertola will take you into the fascinating world of what I want to know, say, as conservation biology 2.0, or maybe even 2.1. We have already started fruitful discussion with Professor Thapa and with Subodh Upadhyay to investigate the possibility to help to set up, watch my words very careful, a sort of master's course for conservation biology and wildlife genetics at the KU. So that you, as students of this university, can broaden your scope in this field of biology, which is so important for Nepal, its nature and its people. In the third place, we are in the process of setting up a research station, we call it a biolab, at the border of the Bardia National Park, where we have just been and discussed the whole thing, to start a series of studies in and around the park to get a better idea of the present state of the biodiversity and the changes which will be and you are facing in the climate change arena. Now, about the Himalayan Tiger Foundation itself, why we here now? Big question. I can tell you only 1 minute about my personal history in this country. I was studying biology in Leiden together with Jacques, back in the Netherlands. And during my study, I got the opportunity to go to what then was called an expedition in 1970 with fellow students to catch small insects, Collembola, on the slopes of the Mount Everest. Fascinating, 1970, 43 years ago. Nepal, of course, was in those days totally different. Many holy cows in the street, instead of the present day's holy cow, the car. We rode on bicycles from Kathmandu to Bhaktapur through green paddy fields, peasant houses, only green, nature was there. When you go now, we see a 6-lane highway, Japanese built. In those days, it was a small dirt road with our bicycles. The few old taxis in Kathmandu were ambassador cars from India. They were painted like tigers. So the good thing is the reverse now, that we go back to the real animal instead of the taxi in those days. After this, I deviated from biology, and together with some Dutch people, we started the Summit Hotel in Kupendal and Summit Trekking. We were the inventors, I say, of ecotourism, and we have set the trend in those early days. After this, now last year, the Summit Hotel has gone to new hands, Nepali owners. So that was my thing in the Summit Hotel 35 years after being the owner, one of the owners. But after that, we wanted to contribute again to this country, because the country has done a lot for me, so we want to do something back. So with friends, my old study friends, we started the Himalayan Tiger Foundation. And the question is, why this name? So many people are working on tigers. Tigers are attractive, they sell good, they attract attention. But when we talk about tigers, that is too narrow. We talk about ecosystems, of which the tigers are an important part as a top predator. We talk about biodiversity, we talk about climate change. Where do we stand? We are a very young organization, not competing with other existing NGOs, You know the names WWF, NTNC, and so on. They're all active in the field of nature conservation. We complement each other. We don't want to duplicate things. We noted, however, that the present NGOs are not primarily involved in scientific research, which is needed as a base for proper nature conservation. So we can add our qualities there, maybe. Therefore, we team up with a couple of organizations, like CMDN. Dibesh, there you are. I made a mistake, ladies and gentlemen. His logo also had to be there, but due to a little error, it's not there. So here it is. Dibesh Karmachar is a good friend. He's doing brilliant research on DNA, the Tiger Genome Project. And we also want to team up with the Kathmandu University, your university, with the intention to introduce this new field of biology to the curriculum. Yes, that's what we all want to achieve. But last but not least, it's a pleasure to be in Nepal, honestly. Seeing you all sitting here, you are the new generation, the generation that will make the future happen. You have the responsibility to make Nepal a better state, with concerns about and love for your natural beauty and reserves. We all know nature is an asset, it's not a liability. Nature is a necessity for all of us. Nature is our duty. Nature is a must. I wish you a very successful course. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kasti Stopler, for thinking so much of the country and willing to contribute. I remember this small conversation in Dhulikhel Hospital when we went to meet our VC, Professor Dr. Ram Shrestha. And as I was a student of biotechnology and School of Science in this university, I said, we don't have course in wildlife conservation and wildlife genetics. And I think these people have taken it to completely another level. I'm so thankful to Mr. Kasti Stopler and Kathmandu University for actually implementing the idea. So from this onwards, our lecture starts, and we have Dr. Jacques Van Alpijn all day with you for the lecture. I hope you enjoy this and make most of it. Thank you.